I don't understand it. You know, there weren't a lot of soldiers in northern Syria, but they were there because they were there. They were protecting our Kurdish allies, the YPG or the Syrian Defense Forces. I don't understand this move. It's putting an ally at risk. We just heard a report that Turkish airstrikes are already beginning. I'm not sure what the president meant when he said we're not going to allow Erdogan and Turkey to attack a Kurdish ally. What did the president think Erdogan was going to do when he talks about a military operation to kill terrorists?
Okay, well, let me ask you, because, you know, earlier today, the president, when he was actually signing a trade deal with Japan, and reporters were talking to him and brought up the idea of what was going on in this conflict, and he made it a lot about those ISIS fighters that were left behind, and the idea that, you know, you had people there guarding thousands of ISIS fighters. None of the countries from which they originally came want to have them back, obviously. So what do you do with these people? He didn't want to bring them all to Guantanamo Bay. And it sort of seemed like maybe his desire to pull out of the area had to do with the fact that nobody wanted to help with the cleanup. What do you think about that?
I just think that when the Turkish military says terrorists, they're not talking about ISIS. They're not talking about, they're talking about Kurdish allies. So if the president thinks Erdogan's moving into northern Syria to secure ISIS prisoners from the YPG and the U.S., that's not what's happening. Turkey's going to move in, and they're going to start attacking a U.S. ally.
But what happens to those ISIS fighters then?
They'll probably get released. I wouldn't be surprised if they got released and they were sent to start to mess with Assad, Russia, and Iran.
So right now, the president is meeting with military brass. Do you think that they're trying, I mean, at this very moment as we speak, they're in the cabinet room. Do you think they're trying to talk him back down off of this? Absolutely.
Remember, the president condemned Obama for leaving Iraq too soon and leading to the rise of ISIS. This is the president leaving Syria without a policy that will result in an ISIS resurgence ahead of the 2020 election. It's not just about the election. It's about security degradation. It's about the relationships U.S. advisors have with an ally, and that ally is now asking that U.S. advisor as he drives away, why are you leaving? What's happening here?
Can I ask you, I mean, what do you think is really behind this? Because, you know, General Mattis quit over this. He did have a conversation with President Erdogan of Turkey, and then all of a sudden it seemed like his policy changed, as if there was something that either President Erdogan said in order to change his mind or some other sort of deal. I mean, you must have a theory on this.
Well, I think it's exactly that. The president's argument is being shored up by those in D.C. that believe that Turkey is a NATO ally, that Turkey can fall into the U.S. sphere of influence. We just haven't seen that, though, unfortunately. Not when it's come to Iranian sanctions, oil waivers, and now with these actions across the border. They're attacking Kurds in northern Iraq, and now they're going to attack the YPG in northern Syria. I think it's exactly that. We have two transactional leaders, Erdogan and President Trump, and I think that's actually generating this move.
Okay. Michael, thank you.
Thank you for having me.